Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the only referral podcast where you can get real stories of real people getting real referrals. Every week, we share inspiring stories and practical tips from people like you to take your repeat and referral business to the next level. I invite you to join our free private Facebook group. Go to JoinGenGen.com. That's JoinGenGen.com, and we'll add you to our referral group. I'm your host, Michael J. Maher, and I'm so excited to share today's episode with you. So let's get started.
Hello, Referrals Podcast listeners. This is Sherry Mayer, and I'm filling in this week for Michael because this episode is a milestone for us. You are listening to episode number 300. Michael and I are beyond thrilled to have reached this milestone, and it's all thanks to you. That's right, our loyal Referrals Podcast listeners. So you are the driving force behind our success. So thank you. And to celebrate this momentous occasion, we have something special just for you. You may have noticed a couple weeks ago, Michael posted in the GenGen group, which, by the way, if you're not a member, please head over to JoinGenGen, GenGen.com for the generosity generation. Head over there. Michael posted a question there a few weeks ago and said, hey, we're coming up on episode number 300. What was your favorite episode so far? And so we got a ton of feedback on that, but there was one episode that got more comments than all the others. So today, we are going to take a trip down memory lane and revisit the episode that was most voted on by you. And it turns out the most voted on episode was episode number 212, featuring Tania MacLeod. This episode is a recording of a coaching call between Michael and Tania when she was going over how to organize and grade her database. So this was kind of a behind the scenes peek into her coaching session. So we're going to do that, but then also we have another surprise for you. So we understand that after listening to this episode, you might be thinking to yourself, my database might need this same type of help. So we are opening up for the first time ever for the podcast an opportunity for you to book a call with one of our coaches. So after listening to this episode, if you think your database needs a little bit of help, head over to callwithcoach.com, reserve your spot for a 15-minute session, get some quick hints on organizing your database, and find out maybe how we can help you further. Again, that's callwithcoach.com. Now, without further ado, let's jump back into episode number 212.
All right, so first of all, tell me something good. Like, what's your 10 or what's your win, or what was the highlight of the last couple weeks?
I think I got 2 referrals last week. One was from another agent in the city, for a buyer looking right here in Roswell. And the other was past clients who friends are also relocating here from California. And so those 2 referrals came in, which, always feels good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Agent in the city. You got to tell me about that one a little bit.
So she is with EXP. And she looked up, I guess, a Roswell EXP agent and found me. And we had to basically like an interview to make sure that we were of similar mindset, because the agent that she had referred this buyer to before, they were having a bad go at it, I guess would be the way to say it. It just wasn't working.
Didn't sync.
Did not sync.
Yeah.
And so when I was on the phone with the buyer, I wanted to make sure that I understood what went wrong so I don't retrace all of those things. And really, she felt like that agent was not an area specialist, didn't maybe have inside information. And so I immediately found a couple of coming soon and just areas that I had a listing right next to the subdivision she was looking, and just giving her some things. She said, you're already beating out the other agent because I can tell that you know the area. So
yeah. You live there. That definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was the agent from out of town, or tell me
Atlanta.
about that? Okay,
Nope,
so
she's here.
they're just across the city and
Yeah, she's
couldn't
just
serve it herself.
I guess she could, but she knew that this kind of market, we kind of really need to know the
Yeah.
specific area. And this is a client that's a circle of her friends that she's helped a bunch of them, and they're all very self-sufficient. Like they can find the properties, they can do this, but they want to know if there's something that they don't yet know about, an off-market opportunity, or something that's about to come on the market that hasn't hit, so they can get a jump before people. And this group of her friends are the type of buyers that do a lot of the research and drive-bys. They just want direction from an expert in the area. So
okay, I like it. So congrats on that one. And then the past client relo, do they live in California, or they live locally and they knew someone from California?
The people that referred me?
Yeah.
Or the buyers?
The referral source.
So they used to live in California. I had helped their parents and their grandparents relocate from there here in Roswell. And then the parents referred me to their kids who came from California. They're actually in Woodstock. They didn't end up going in Roswell, but right on the edge. And then I helped some of their best friends also relocate here to the Marietta area. And this is another set of friends coming from California that are not yet here.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
So they've referred you before?
They have.
Yeah. So they're ambassadors.
They are.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
I love the whole family. They're really, really great people.
Awesome. All right. So I've got so have you done your great retrace on both of these? Like who's responsible for what and so on and so forth on both those?
So the very originator of all of this, he has since passed. His wife is still living, and she's still one of my friends, and I talk with her often. So I always call her and let her know that, oh my gosh, you won't believe, because I know that she would be happy to hear about what her husband kind of started. And so I do share that with her, that you won't believe. I have not called her to tell her about this couple yet, so I will.
Yep.
I will
Great.
do that. And that's
so
a
we
great
need to
reminder,
retrace
so thank
that.
you.
And then your power notes, right? To everybody that's involved with both of these.
Yeah, that's a very good reminder. Thank you. Yes,
that's why
I
I'm
will
here.
do that.
That's why I'm here, right? So
I know.
And it's amazing what a power note will do. It's amazing what the Great Retrace Call will do. It just and neither one costs very much, but the level of appreciation is through the roof.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I have to congratulate you. The last time we talked, you had first of all, you rocked it by getting through. I said, hey, get through your phone and find the plus people, the people who really either added or even better multiplied you in levels of energy. And you went from 14,797 people down to 414.
Yep.
So there are 414 people that really plus you, really give you energy in your phone and in your database, essentially. How long did that take? I'm genuinely curious. Like, how long did it take to go A through Z with 15,000 people?
I think the first part that you gave me, I can't remember if it was like A through B or C or whatever you gave me at first.
A through J, right?
That took the longest, because it was like just getting my mindset like past the A's was like, oh, come on, you can, because I was starting at looking at my phone, and I had a hard time seeing duplicates and triplicates of that contact, or one that I'm not even looking at, and not going in to edit it. And I thought, don't do it. So once I realized, like, you didn't tell me to edit my database, you simply told me to go and find and write them down on a separate sheet of paper. Don't even do anything with the contact. Don't flag it. Don't do anything. And when I realized that, it was like, okay, I just got momentum. And I was like, oh, I made it a game. I was like, let's gamify this. Okay, let's see if I can get through the A's. Oh, B's. Okay. C's. And I was like, holy crap, I'm beating what Michael gave me as my homework. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to go for it. I'm like, I'm going to surprise. So that's when I was sending you little screenshots. I'm like, I'm doing it. Yeah. So you would, give me my motivation to say, yay, good job. Pat me on my back. Mm-hmm. And then I just wanted
not
to
that
do
you
more
need that. Not that you need me to pat you on the back, but I like where it's going. We all like a good word from the coach, right? Yeah. So how long do you think that took you to go? You eliminated basically 14,500 people.
I would say it probably at the maximum took an hour. It was probably closer to really 30, 45 minutes if I had done it all at once, but I did it in little bits and pieces, and I would just take 5 minutes here and 10 minutes here. But I think you could have really just powered through it at one sitting for probably, honestly, just 30 minutes. Because it just looks, you're just looking, writing the name down, looking, writing the name down. That made it so much faster and easier, not editing and doing things.
Yeah. Not getting mired in the details, right? Progress over perfection, stay focused on the job at hand. What do we really want to do? We want to be in relationship with really positive people. So let's not worry about all the details that are keeping us from that, So, all right. So now I said, all right, you got 414. I really want you to narrow it down to what we would call the multipliers. And these are, if you're looking at the grade in the database, you've got, you put a plus or minus next to everybody, and, you've got 0 for the people you don't remember or don't know. And then the pluses or the minuses, there are people that literally are super negative, really divisive, and we just put dots above the negative for them, and they're divisive. And we all know divisive people. We have them. We see them on Facebook all the time where notifications come up and it's like, oh, that one posted, I know it's going to be bad. And then the opposite of that is we've got the plus sign. Now we need to go through and put an X through the plus sign so it looks like an asterisk or a multiplication symbol. And these are the multipliers. And that was your next step, was to go from the pluses to the multipliers. How many multipliers did you end up with?
I ended up with 82. And those are not real estate agents, because I did actually have several real estate agents that you told me to put on a separate list. So I did do a separate list for them. And I really just made it about people that I know. And I did struggle a little bit as to whether or not they needed to be people that are here local, whether I should put my kids in there, whether I should have, and you said, yes, definitely put your kids. And, that was interesting to me, because I thought, well, do I really need to put my kid? Yeah, they do multiply my energy, and it's good to be around them because they fuel me. So, that was interesting. And then I took a couple of people away when I went back through it. I'm like, was I just choosing them because they're local and I think that they'd give me business? Like, maybe I really need to think about it. Do they really multiply my energy, and do I really consider them a plus? And so I took a few away, and some were agents, and I moved them over. So I ended up with 82 non-real estate people that I think are my people. Like, I like to be around. I would love to get a phone call from them. If I see the phone ring, I'm like, yes, I'm going to answer it,
Yeah. So these are multipliers. And out of town, include your kids. We have to mention that your kids are teenagers, right? Or at least close to teenagers plus, right?
Yeah.
And I will tell you that as they go to college and beyond, having them in their database with a reminder to reach out to them, and vice versa for them to call you, is always a good thing. So, all right. So now with the 82 multipliers, you invited them to your Facebook group, right? We Are Roswell, and got them for the people that you could find and know. How many of those did you get invited to the Facebook group?
I invited them all. Not all of them have accepted yet, but some were already in there and I'd already invited. And so I need to go back and go through and see those that I have invited that didn't respond. So that was my next thing, is to get on the phone and explain it to them.
All right. Great job. Good progress. And the next part of this is where, honestly, you go to the next level in your business. And so the first step is really to identify these multipliers. The next part of it is to create your communication plan around these 82. And one thing that we did next was to go from the writing to Microsoft Excel. You put everybody in Excel, or the 82 in Excel, and we did a Dwimke, what I call a Dwimke, which is, how often are you going to communicate with them, which is daily for D, W is weekly, M is monthly, Q is quarterly, Y is yearly, and then, some are multi-year, but Dwimke. Yeah. And none of these multipliers need to be yearly, right? They need to be much more often than that.
Yes.
So
I did get them all off of the yearly and realized, wow, I probably only talk to these people once every other year or once a year. And I really need to be talking to them monthly or quarterly. I mean, I did go through and realize, wow, I'm really bad.
I have to tell you, so I did that I did it in December of last year. And I went through it, and Tanya, I'll tell you right now, what was amazing is there was a person in my phone who made the list who I hadn't talked to in probably almost 10 years, who should have been, but it just wasn't, they weren't in my phone, they weren't in my database. Just for some reason, this old high school friend was not even in there. And it's like, oh my God, why is that person not more in my life? Well, obviously because we haven't talked for 10 years. So it was great to reconnect with that person, put them on a more often schedule. So, all right. So now we've got these people that we're going to be in contact with at least monthly, and I really want to focus on the monthly first, because it's so easy to schedule monthly people.
Okay.
Now, we're going to go from the people to the time. So if you were going to block off an hour a week to call people out of this list of 82,
okay,
what hour can you just literally count on a monthly and or weekly basis? And just to give you the preface on that, for me, my hour of power were always Wednesdays between 10 and 11 a.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays, it was 10 to 11 a.m. Now, I had 199, not 82, so I needed 2 days. You might be able to get through all of this with just one day, right? Maybe a Wednesday. So do you have a perfect time that you can count on every month or every week that you're going to be able to make those hour of power calls?
I do. I have an accountability group that we make calls on Zoom together at the same time. And the point is to prospect, but sometimes we're calling our sphere. So everybody has a different group of who we're feeling the need that we need to get in touch with. And so we do that on Tuesdays at 9:30 to 10:30. Sometimes it goes to 11. But we created another day that I run on Thursdays. So at the same time, 9:30 to 10:30, sometimes to 11. So I could make one of those days just these multiplier calls. And because some days I just do my sphere, my top 50 and my past clients. So every day it's different. It's not just leads that come in through a Facebook ad or whatever. Sometimes it's, so I think I could dedicate, maybe it's just Thursdays. I say Thursdays are my multiplier days because I want to go into the weekend feeling good. Maybe that's how I look at it.
I absolutely love it. And there's some magic to Thursdays and Fridays from the aspect that if you call them on Thursday, you don't just get Thursday, you actually will get the weekend in their mind. So, and that is a lot of times when a lot of the most frequent referrers in our database, they refer on weekends most, because that's when they're interacting with maybe the most people. So, having a Thursday call is gonna be powerful here. So 9:30 to 10:30 or 11. And so here's the next step is, and we're actually gonna do one of these, is what I want you to do is I want you to pick a person, right? So pick a person who's on your M list or your monthly list.
That is currently an M or should be an M?
Should be an M. Should be an M.
That should be, that is like at a year or longer, or?
No, it doesn't have to be. It can be anybody that should be monthly. It could be people you're talking to now monthly. We're just going to schedule it. It could be somebody that you haven't talked to in forever and should be monthly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter as long as they're on your M list. And just so, just to repeat on the DWIM key, it's just all we did is like, how often are you talking to them? How often should you be talking to them, right? And two different columns. And if it's how often should you be talking to them is an M, that's somebody we want right now.
Okay, I've got several that should be an M that
are
not.
So just pick one. That's why I said pick one. You're actually going to probably have 82 of them. If you really, really think about it, it's probably all of them should maybe be.
I put some of them that I should talk quarterly. So maybe I need to be calling them all monthly, but I put a couple of them are quarterly.
Those would be the out-of-towners a lot of time. If somebody lives in whatever it may be, sometimes they're the ones. But here's the thing. It's your list. It's your database. And what you're going to find is that you probably have room to call 82 people monthly. If you're doing it 4 weeks on Thursdays for an hour, that's 40, that's at least 40 people a month very, very conservatively, very easily. You got to realize a lot of people are at work. You're going to leave messages. You're not going to talk to them.
Yep.
So, getting 10 calls done an hour is a pretty, well, you've been doing the calls. So you're leaving a lot of messages, that kind of thing. So, all right. So give me one person, just their first name.
Trish. Now, can it be the person that I need to call for my great retrace? Because that was the one who immediately came to my mind.
What a great question. All right. So that is a great question. So the answer to that is actually no, because that person, Trish, would fit more into the first and 10 than the hour of power. What we're going to do with the hour of power is we're literally going to schedule these people every month on the first Thursday of every month between 9:30 and 10:30. They're going to have their own name in on your calendar. So in this case, it's Trish.
Well, you said no, so I shouldn't do her.
Oh, okay. So give me another name.
So I will do Jane.
Jane. Okay. All right. So Jane. So what I want you to do is I'll just show you what I want to do. I'm going to share my screen. And by the way, my screen is going to look like a mess. I've got probably 5,000 windows open. So.
Oh, then you're like me.
Yeah.
It'll look just like mine.
I hope that's all right. So I'm going to go to my calendar. There we go. So you're going to see my whole calendar, which looks like an absolute mess. But so here's what you're going to do. I'm going to go to the first Thursday in October, right? So I'm going to go to Thursday in October, October 7th, and I'm going to go to 9:30 a.m. right here. Right? So it opens up. And what I would do is I'm going to make that appointment more like 9:30 to 9:40.
Okay.
Right? So it's going to be very, very small on your schedule.
Okay.
Let's see. There we go. There we go. And then the title is going to be call Jane. And then phone number. I don't want her phone number, but put the phone number here. And then if you can guess what her DISC is, or if she's a 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the magic question, is she straight to the point, social and outgoing, steady and dependable, or cautious and perfectly accurate? What would you say?
The husband is cautious and perfectly accurate. What would she be? Probably social and outgoing, maybe?
1 second. So social and outgoing. So maybe she's a 2, right? Or an I. So I'm going to put an I on there just as a reminder. You can put your location for where you make that call, and then add description. You would just say multiplier call or ambassador call.
Okay.
And then you're going to take notes here for the year. Please notice that when you make these notes, they're going to show up every time this appointment comes up, which is the next thing that I'm going to do here.
Oh, it shows up in the recurring appointment from
Forever.
The last call?
So here's the next, right? So we're October 7th, 9:30 to 9:40. We're going to call Jane, and then we are going to repeat, right? So it repeats monthly I'll tell you, Google Calendar made this so easy. Monthly on the first Thursday. Now, it defaults to never end. And I have to be totally honest with you, is if you want to end it, let's say for some reason Jane falls off that list, then later on you can do delete the event, and it says, do you want to save this for future events? And you go, yes, and Jane would no longer be on your schedule, right? So then you take your notes from your calls down here, right? So you could do there's had a great call. Daughter is going to play lacrosse at Clemson. Okay, that's not really the truth, but your daughter is going to play lacrosse at Clemson, which is pretty just flat out amazing. So that's the whole thing. So if you wanted to put Jane's phone number in the location blank, you could do that, right?
Okay.
So you can do all this, but you're then going to save it, which I will, right? So I saved it, and you'll notice that then on your schedule, you'll have a really small reminder. Oh, that's something I need to edit on it, is I need to edit the reminder. It says 10 minutes before the call. I'm actually going to make that notification like 5 minutes before the call, or 0 minutes before the call, like at the time of the call. You make the notification whatever you want, right?
Okay.
And that's it. Now, you got to, right, that anytime you make an edit, it says, do you want to edit? Well, it's this and the following events, or whatever you want to do, right? And hit OK. And then you'll notice that your notes are still down there. Now, some people are like, well, I've got a CRM, I'll be fine. Well, okay, yeah, unless your CRM goes down or you switch CRMs. This is literally in your calendar, and if you sync it to your iPhone, it's in your iPhone calendar forever.
Yeah.
So, boom, it's in there, and then when October 7th pops up next Thursday, then it'll say call Jane. I'll call Jane, I'll take notes, and then I close it, and then I go to the next one. And you're going to put 10 of these in your 9:30 to 11. And this is now your hour of power. So if I really wanted to like name the whole thing, it'd be hour of power, but I don't, the hour of power is just to block it, but I'm going to put 10 of these little appointments with myself in there. And guess what? The first Monday or the first Thursday of every month, I'll be talking to my 10 people who I need to be talking to monthly. Now, here's something else that happens is you get going and all of a sudden it's like you're in great relationship with Jane, but it's like you're also seeing her at soccer. You're also seeing her at lacrosse. You're also seeing her at school. And it's like, okay, I really don't need to call her that frequent. So you open it up and you edit, right? And then you could go custom, right? And then you're going to repeat every 3 months, which is quarterly.
Okay.
And then boom, and it's done. And just so you know, it's like bang, and it's done. It's literally done for all those events. And then it's there, and then it's not there until January. My schedule. So everybody's looking at me having conniption fits thinking like that schedule's brutal, dude. There you go. So January 6th would be your next call.
Okay.
With Jane.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know the notes carry over in a repeating thing.
Forever.
That's fantastic, because I was trying not to use Google for those reminders, or I would create a task so then I could check it off and it would carry over if I forgot to make the call, or, so that's good that you walked me through that. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's do one real quick. Go ahead and do it on your screen. Do you have your Google Calendar there? I'm actually going to make you a co-host so you can share it with me and I can see it.
You're going to go crazy over my calendar too, just so you
know.
Yeah,
I understand with all the kids. And I took Max's schedule and I took our family schedule off of that, and it was still just crazy. So, but you and I, we understand the power of a schedule. We understand the power of a calendar. So guess what? We have everything on our calendar.
Okay. So share screen. Okay. Share that one. Okay, let me move that out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to make for Thursday, right? This first Thursday?
Yep.
23rd. Okay.
Well, I would go to October 7th, right? I would start
it this Thursday?
No, I would start it for the first week of October.
Okay. My computer is very slow because I have too many things open, as you can see.
Yeah, your colors are so much nicer than mine.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to hit in there and I'll change the time. Okay. And you set her number, which I'm not going to put.
Yep.
And I think she's an I. And we're going to do it for October the 7th. We're going to do it at 9:30. We're usually a little bit late starting. 9:30 a.m., 9:35 to 9:45 a.m. October 7th. And this is going to repeat monthly on the 1st.
I'm telling you, that's new. That's only been added the last couple of years, where you could actually do like a third Thursday or a first Thursday. So
that's fantastic. I'll do it 1 minute before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you change the colors of the
Yes.
calls that you make? Because then you
Yes.
know, like I do blue for webinars and Zoom meetings, and okay.
Yep. I do. I use red because red's not in anything else, and it seems kind of urgent. So
it is. Those are,
but
and that's what I use for my power of hour block.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's probably good. Okay.
And I also like, I believe I believe in like red time, white time, blue time. Like red time's on business, go, go, go. White time is white space to do whatever. And blue time is relaxation time / like family time, that kind of thing. So I typically red, white, and blue my schedule.
So hopefully I'll have notes from this Thursday.
All right. So let's jot down some notes that maybe aren't super private, right? Like, what do you know? Like, what do you know about her?
Congratulate. I just saw that she's pregnant.
Oh, geez. There you go.
I've got the husband to call today because he just got a job promotion. So I was going to call him. He's on my list to call today.
You know what's great is when ambassadors start having ambassador babies. I just So has she had children before?
Nope, this is their first. I have
Oh
them by
my
their first
gosh.
house here in Roswell with a pool. So they've had a lot of fun during COVID because they had a pool.
Yep.
Off-market property. So they
Yep.
were delighted.
Can you maximize that screen? Maybe. There you go. Close enough. Now, do you have a favorite book from pregnancy? Like what to expect when you're expecting?
That was a great one. Yeah, I think most people have that now, though. But
do you think she has it?
Probably.
You think so?
Well, another one I saw that's the same age, and I'm dying to introduce these two first-time buyers that I think are very similar, and they're both pregnant. One's further along in the process, and this one is just brand new announcement. So the other one put that she had that book. And she was asking what other books. So
oh wow.
I think it's like a known thing. Everybody knows to get that book.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised at what we don't know when we first. I mean, the first one, I wish I would have known a ton more than I really do. Like how to actually like have a baby. Like what do we do to prepare? I do love what to expect when you're expecting.
I do too. It was a good one.
And then what's the book where it talks about blocking off the meal times or the feeding times?
Ferber method. Oh my gosh. That was
Yeah.
like the worst thing ever. I remember bawling on the other side of the door as we were letting our son cried out. And 11 months later, we discovered the poor kid has heartburn. That's why he cries every time you put him down. So we felt like the worst parents. Yeah.
So you're not the worst parents. But I have to tell you, for us with Max, that was a lifesaver, was going to it was amazing
Dr. Sears, wasn't it?
How fast he finally went to sleep. And then we could actually sleep until 5 or 6. Ours
just needed Zantac, and then he was fine. So It was like, why didn't we get him to the ENT before this?
Isn't it amazing? I mean, I remember we were on a flight, and Max just was. You're on a flight, you're in a controlled environment. Mm-hmm. He's just bawling his head off and just like going on, and he was like 10 minutes. You're like feel awful because everybody in the whole place is like, shut him up. Well, finally, this gal gives us a raisin. And so he chews on the raisin.
Pops the ears.
And he goes right to sleep. So what it was is like he was a little bit like irritable and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if it was the ears popped or whatever. I'm not sure if they have that even then. But it was just, he was just a little bit hungry and just needed like a pacifier. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, we didn't know, it was like, we're so frustrated. What's really frustrating is not knowing.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to help them know, I love that. And, maybe one of those books from Amazon would be a great gift for them.
And I know one of the things that I found the most beneficial, not during the pregnancy, but once the baby is here, two things is the boppy that you put underneath while you're feeding the baby that props the baby up, and then the binky holder, the little thing that
the swath.
No, the boppy is a thing that not boppy. It's
the boppy is the holder.
It's like a thing that you just put. It's like a pillow that is in a U shape that goes around your waist, so it props the baby up. And then the binky holder was like a little clip, and it had a cute little like zebra was ours, and then a little string that held the pacifier. So anytime they spit it out, it didn't fall on the ground. That was like mind blowing not to have that. So I started giving that as my gift, like go-to gift for any new mom, because
that's awesome.
I thought that was like the best thing since sliced bread.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And does Jane have obviously maybe not obviously, but has a husband?
She does.
All right. So you might want to put that in there. Is the husband an ambassador too, or no?
Yes, definitely. He's
okay.
Yeah, he's on
doesn't always work that way.
No, it doesn't. Because I've got some where it's just her or just him, and they're both there.
People ask all the time, like, do you put the couples in the database as a couple? And I'm like, never. First of all, 50% of all marriages end in divorce, so they're going to be separated maybe because of that. But the other thing is, I just discovered that in most cases, you didn't have two ambassadors together. It was him or her who was a big time referrer, and the other one just wasn't all that social,
Yes.
So,
or just a drain. Some of them are just energy drainers. It's like a battle talking to them. Like, oh gosh, just like pull my fingernails off.
I understand.
Yeah.
So, any other notes you want to take on Jane before we hit save?
Nope, not yet. So, did I do a repeating? Yeah, we did. We did repeat. Yep. I didn't do location. I don't need location, right? No. We did the color. I think that's it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
We feel good?
Hit save.
I feel good.
Yep. Save. Down the road, as you incorporate an assistant more and more in your business, you could put the assistant's email in your guest, so you could invite them by email to join into the call.
Okay.
Here's another thing down the road. So this is something that I began doing, and I was going to say quit share here. It got to the point where I was so in tune with my ambassadors that I invited them to that time to do the call. So it was on their schedule and it was on my schedule. So it always happened. Instead of me leaving so many voicemails, Jeff and I would have a 5-minute conversation, or Sean and I would have a 5-minute conversation, or Scott and I. So I don't know if I'd necessarily start that way, but just know that's a little bit of your goal is doing, hey, listen, do you mind if we just do check-in goals once a month? Just especially if you're big time referral exchange people. Like, me and Jeff, I was telling you about, I would give him a lot of referrals. He gave me a lot of referrals. So it really it meant we should check and touch base every month.
That's a very cool idea. Now you must change the title of the call, because usually it just says call Jane, and Jane's going to have an appointment that says call Jane. She's going to be like, why would I have that in there? So,
you change it to MT for meeting, and then it's Jane and you.
Jane and Tanya.
Yeah. And then you can still put an I next to her name, and if she asks, it's just, because
you're interesting.
Yeah. It means you're social and outgoing or whatever. but it means I love you. You can come up into I love you a latte, and you should be at our next one. So, all right. So your job is to take your 82 in the next 2 weeks, and you're going to put them into your schedule properly. And you don't want to schedule more than, I would say, 10 per hour. You could probably get by with 12 to 15 in today's environment, but I would say, putting 10 in there is going to work. And you might think, well, I've got 82, not 40. So what do I do? Well, some are going to be quarterly for sure.
Right.
And then I would use up your Tuesday. I would put, I would put the people back into that Tuesday.
Okay. That's who I need to be calling anyway. They're way more important than cold leads.
Yep. And just so you know, what we have just done is we've taken your communication plan and we have now gotten your ambassadors and champions into your schedule, not just into your, we didn't just make a plan. We actually now have a way to execute on that plan, which means when those pop up, make the call and go from there. Now, I'm going to give you a little cheat code, I guess, a little bit, is the use of texting is allowed. So let's say you're getting ready to call Jane, text her and say, hey, do you have 2 minutes? Which gives you some time to think about topic and subject. With Jane, you've got something to talk about for the next 9 months and maybe forever, because of children. And she's going to be asking you for advice because you have four. Well, you have 3 awesome children. I'll exclude one.
Ooh, one's not awesome. Ooh.
No, I'm just kidding. You have 4 awesome children. So it's one of those where, when somebody raises children like you do, you should probably write a book. You're definitely going to have people asking for advice. So, but I think that's the big thing here is just keep kicking butt on what you're doing. You're rocking it. Any questions before we go? And just to review, you've got a power note to write to the EXP agent and the client that's working with you on the Roswell deal. You've got the power note for the wife, which I believe's name is Trisha, and you've got you've got to put the multipliers in your schedule for the next at least 5 years, and have it broken down to when you're going to call them. And I mean, right now, how does it feel? And then imagine how it's going to feel when you have all 82 in your schedule perfectly, right?
It'll be great because there's some of them are like people that I really miss and that I don't talk to enough. And I have no reason other than I just have excuse after excuse after excuse. And then you get so embarrassed that it's been so long. Like, how have I let it go so long since we've spoken?
But they have too.
That's
right?
it.
I mean, I think that's the thing is nobody's coming up to you and saying, I apologize for not staying in regular contact with you. I know you were a client back in, 1996. It's nobody's doing that. I think the big thing is you just started up as normal, you act normal, and you just catch up and go. The longest call is the catch up call. And then from there on out,
Yeah. I feel worse about the people that are not clients and past clients, like your friends that you've literally not called. That's what I'm looking at. Like friend who got married during COVID. I watched it on Zoom and we've had one meeting since. And I really where have I been? Why have I not called and seen her and, gone to hug her? Like, that's terrible. I'm terrible. So that's the realization when I'm going through here. I'm like, no, that's not my client, but that's somebody I want to give a hug to and say, oh my gosh, I've missed you, see her in person. So that's what's exciting is that it's a communication plan, not geared around just business, right? Not just the people that I've done business with, or I hope to do business with, just people that I love. And I want to talk to more and be around more. That's right. That's when it just changed the way I look at my database, right? It's like, oh, people.
Yeah. Just treat them like people. Take care of the people, and the numbers will take care of themselves. And you're already experiencing that in a great way. So, and just so you know, what's the future? Just to build that picture a little bit is now you've got your communication plan. Well, now we build the yearly appreciation plan on top of that, and the yearly ambassador program around that as well. It sounds like a lot, but you've already done 99% of the hard work. Now from here on out, the hard work is getting it into your calendar and having a plan for success with each of those people. But here's the beauty. Once you do this, it's done forever. You went through 15,000 people. How many people are you going to have to go through next December? 6 or 18 or 25. At the most, it'll be 100 people versus 50. Who let the dogs out? You know what I mean? So it's one of those where it's all good. I think you're just rocking it, and I'm excited about it as we build off of this communication plan and go into the apps and just what's going to happen because you're so referable already.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for making me go through this exercise and actually doing it because I've taken your class, I don't know how many years ago, but when it was called Boost and made that list and all those people, but they're not necessarily multipliers and people that make me filled with energy that I want to call. They're people I know I need to. So this is a different way. Sorry, the leaf is blowing and my dog's
It's all good. It's all good. I had a call call last hour where Miles was just going ballistic because somebody was walking their dog across the front. So it happens. It's all good. It's life, right? And we're real, and it's all good. So I just wanted to express my appreciation for you working with me and being such an awesome, implementation. So ideas are worthless. They're really, it's implementation that's priceless, and you're an implementer, and it's been awesome so far.
I appreciate you. You're making me do the implementation. So thank you. Accountability helps.
Yes. All right. Well, have a great one.
All right. You too. Bye.
As always, thank you for listening to the Referrals Podcast and reviewing the show on your favorite app. We read every single review, and I know many people read the reviews, and in some cases have even referred the people who have done reviews. And I give a shout out occasionally to the ones that I love the most. A very special thank you for sharing the show with other business people, salespeople, including realtors, lenders, warranty reps, title, and honestly, any business that wants and need referrals, and what business doesn't want repeat business and referral business. Every time you share the show, you're potentially changing someone's life, because they can go from pushy salespeople or trying to do business the traditional way to building a business based on love, generosity, and appreciation that floods them with referrals and repeat business. And when they go to bed at night, they can put their head on their pillow and relax because they understand that they can have peace of mind about where their next piece of business comes from. Go to JoinGenGen.com and we'll add you to our private Facebook group. That's JoinGenGen.com, JoinGenGen.com. We'd love to have you. And stay tuned for the next episode of Referrals Podcast.